welcome to another episode of Top Lines and Tails, your weekly livestock podcast. And as always, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Harbro, for their continued support. This week on Top Lines and Tails, we go to France to speak to Frenchman Olivier Rambert, who is commercial manager for Interlim there in Lanaud, near Limoges. Olivier, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. Olivier, I don't think you're originally from the Limoges area. Are you? Where's home? Where are you from originally?
I'm not from the Limoges region. I'm coming from further north, from the Charolais region. I come from a Charolais pedigree cattle farming livestock, which was taken over by my brother a couple of years ago. So this is my roots.
Okay, so you're a Charolais man, Charolais cattle man originally.
I was, yeah, 3 generations of Charolais cattle breeders. That's the background, and I'm pretty close to farming and to breeding cattle at first. I've always been raised into that world, and obviously when the occasion of getting into that world through the Limousin society, I couldn't resist to get in. So it was a great opportunity back in 2009.
Okay.
That's it. So I moved to Limoges.
Okay, yeah. And Limoges, I mentioned you're the commercial manager for Interlim, which I think is part of the whole Lanaud setup there. What actually happens after Lanaud? Just tell our listeners a little bit about the power that Lanaud has. It's a big outfit, isn't it?
Yes, this is it. I'm the manager of a team of four person, including myself. That's Interlim is the commercial part of the French Limousin Cattle Society, which is located in Lanaud, Boisseuil. That's the name of the village, around 12 kilometers south to Limoges.
Okay.
In Limousin, Haute-Vienne. What's happening in Pole du Lanaud? Pole du Lanaud is the birthplace. It's the headquarters of the Limousin Society. Okay. It is where you can find the office of herd book, office of Interlim, office of everybody working together to improve the the Limousin Society in France. But also it's the place where you can find the control station, national station of bulls in France. So, and Interlim has also the charge of selling these bulls, the best top quality bulls of France.
Okay, I understand that, and I believe you for Interlim you run a bull testing station there where animals come in and your tests run against them and then eventually taken on to the sale. So would you be in charge of selecting those animals?
We're not in charge of selecting animals. Herd book technicians all over France. We've got a group of 12 to 14 colleagues, and these guys are looking at from 80 to 120 breeders each one, okay. And they've got the work to the task to select the best young bulls at winning, and among all that potential of choice, we're entering in Lanaud station during 4 series of bulls, 4 sets of bulls all year long. We're entering around 700 bulls to sell at the end 500 bulls, around 480 to 500 young bulls, okay. Aged from 13 to 15 months old. And they've been following a process of nearly 5 months from the time they enter Lanaud station to the time they're sold in the ring by Interlim. And so Interlim is not selecting the bulls at first, but Interlim is part of the process to select during all that controls process, okay. Along with herd book technicians and French Institute of Élevage, of breeding, the best bulls, and also at the end to select and to classify them into 2 big classes, RG, which means reproducteur jeune, they're the top 50%. Then we've got, let's say, 40 to 50% of Espoir, and Espoir is the second category, okay. More dedicated to commercial breeders.
the RJ, they get then those are the pedigree bulls that you would expect to go to pedigree breeders, and does that, are they selected by the performance that they've done at the station, or how much of that is done on data, on figures, and how much of that is selection from yourself to decide whether they're pedigree?
There's a part of there's a big part of their performances as such, proper performances all over the control, but it has also a big part of figures and genomics into that, and we pull that into big computers, and we've got an average score called EMOC, which is from, let's say, 80 to 125, and everything above 103 can apply to get the qualification of RT.
Okay.
So then we look at the bulls, make sure that they're very correct on the legs, very good temperament, very good breed characteristics, and we will we'll get rid of some of them, and the best ones are qualified RT. But it's a mix between performances, scoring, so morphology, but also figures of the parents, and a bit of genomics into that.
Okay.
So it's a global figure, global mark.
Yeah. Okay, and that, I mean, the world now is using EBVs or EPDs as they are in America. Do your figures fit into that same category, same system of measuring?
We've got our proper original figures, which were the first ones in the history of calculation and improvement through that system. So it's called iBoval. Now we are introducing some genomics into iBoval to have something more complete, I would say, and more accurate. No, we're working along with not Belgium yet, but in close future. But with Luxembourg, also some people in Spain are following that system. Of course, we can force people to adapt their system to a French system, but it was the original system.
Okay.
So we give it a lot of credit.
I understand. And you mentioned you measure for temperament, for docility, as the Americans would call it there. And how does that figure? Do you put that figure into your EPD, or to your data figures, or is that something you just take on the side? Because it's an important thing.
Not yet. It is very important. It is very important. And through that test, it's quite a simple test, built up by the National Institute of Agronomy Research a couple of years ago. So basically, we're testing each bull once they're entering 3 weeks after they're getting into Lanaud, once they settle down, once they get used to a new environment, and we put them into a kind of a stressful situation. There's no windows outside. It's kind of a dark ambience. It's not dark, obviously, but we're trying to make sure that they would behave well with the contact of a human being. So we're giving them a mark from 1 to 4. Marks from 1, 2, 3 are acceptable, and the mark 4, and it's obviously not acceptable. It's the situation where once the bull calf is going for you. So it's quite simple, but it's quite efficient.
Okay.
And we're getting rid of these bulls, and it's around 5 to 7%, depending on the year, depending on the moon, depending on a couple of situations.
Okay.
But it's very important. It's not included into the, I would say, into the iBoval, but we make sure that we get rid of these bulls, that they won't get through the system of reproduction, and as obviously docility and temperament is heritable quite strongly. Once it's out and fattened and killed, we make sure that there won't be any descendant from that not very docile bloodline.
Okay, that's cleared that up, because it is highly hereditable, as you say.
It is.
And you say you run your bull sale. You run a 2-day bull sale 4 times a year, which is quite a commitment. And who are your buyers there? Do you get a lot of buyers visiting the sale, or some of this just online buyers? Who are you selling bulls to?
Exactly. You know your story quite well. We're in charge of the auction sales in Lanaud, four times a year, and it's divided in 2 days. So it's a bit of a marathon of auction. We start on the Wednesday afternoon with the Espoir, the second category, from 50 to 80 bulls, depending of how big the series is. So at the end of the year, as I said, it's around 500 bulls auctioned. 2 ways of buying, of bidding. Because of the COVID, we had to adapt ourselves. Our system was initially and previously only here in Lanaud, traditional bidding, but we had, because of people not being able to move, we had to adapt that on online bidding also, so people can buy their new reproductors, their new bulls, on both ways, at home or in the ring with us. There's no better way. The best way is to make sure the bull suits yourself. Ask the commercial people, which we are, ask technicians, come over to see them, phone the breeder to get some pictures of the sire of the dam, and once everything is put together, they're free to buy and to bid. But online, it's easy enough. You just click and lift your hand up once you're in the ring. So it's quite convenient. Of course, my colleague and myself are standing at the tribune to do the auctioning, the bidding, like it's done in Carlisle. But it's very interesting. And coming back to that, to our buyers, what's your initial question? We've had very good results last year. So last year it's starting in November, ending in June. So now we've just started the new year. But last year we had nearly 100%, no, not nearly, exactly 100% of sales. 20 to 25% of the bulls are exported. The rest would stay in France. So the majority stays in France.
Okay,
that's being quite complete.
That's brilliant. And just to reiterate, the bulls still belong to the owners. You just have them in the station for the period that you're there, so they can get in touch with the actual breeder and ask them the questions. And then the breeders, I guess, turn up at the sale as well. The breeders will be there, and a lot of people come to the sale, don't they, for a day out maybe, but come to get together.
Yeah, exactly. So the owner of the bull, the breeder of the bull, will stay the owner until there's the hammer saying that the bull is sold. So he's paying a pension around €1,000 for the whole process of the bull, and for the bull to be promoted through that system of Lanaud, which is quite important, the whole process of improvement scheme in the Limousin breed in France.
Okay.
That's the way it is. But of course, being the owner, he would know his bull calf quite well. He would know the bloodline, and the buyers or the people pretending to be interested in that bull calf must feel free to phone the owner and phone us to have the most complete information to buy and to reduce the risk of making a mistake, buying or purchasing the wrong bull calf.
Okay, I understand that. And what percentage of Limousin, how many Limousins are there in France? Let's start there. How many Limousins are in the herd book there, Ollie?
There's around 1.1 million breeding cows. We would talk in terms of breeding cows, which is the most stable amount of Limousin. It's the second circular breed in France, after Charolais, and Charolais is 1.2.5, something like that. So that's quite a small difference between the two breeds.
Okay.
In terms of pedigree cows, I think there's 70 or 80,000 pedigree cows, and of course we're selecting these young calves in Lanaud into that pool of pedigree cows.
So you're taking,
but they will go afterwards.
You're taking 1% of the calves born, roughly 1% of the calves born to the Limousin herd across the country. So that's the 1%. That's the very elite. And all the pedigree, the top bulls come to you. Are there other people that decide not to put their bulls through Lanaud? Do you get to every breeder that's got bulls to sell?
Of of course, for example, through different auction sales over the autumn in France, and before I know there was around 800 young bulls for sale in different auction sales during the autumn from 1st of September to mid-November in France, included these 180 bulls in the last auctions in Lanaud last week. So, of course, there's not only Lanaud. We're offering the best quality, probably, but like everybody, a syndicate of breeders, local breeds, private companies are free to organize their auction sales. It's no problem.
Okay.
Apart from a private deal in farms, of course.
Okay. And you take, I believe, that for the very top ones or the best ones, you take semen from some of those bulls, and then do you market that? Do you buy that, or do you take semen on behalf of the breeder?
We wouldn't, or very rarely, take semen from some of these bulls. I would rather them to produce a couple of years in farms. Of course, being RG, for example, or Espoir, is a value, a guarantee on the value of these bulls. But I'd rather wait and see what they're producing in 1, 2, or 3 farms, for example, before putting the bull into the AI center to collect some semen and to export some semen or to make it available, which is a big part of Interlim activity, along also that selling livestock.
Okay.
So Interlim is selling livestock in Lanaud, in farms also, for the French market or European market, but also we've got a big semen activity for maternal, especially maternal trade young bulls.
Okay.
Or beef, of course, beef young bull.
Okay. And do you buy that semen? Do you market that semen yourself, or do you market it on behalf of the breeder?
Depends. Sometimes we can have our own bulls. Interlim could have its own bulls, but most of the time, these bulls would still belong to the farmers themselves, and we make a deal together with them, sharing the cost and, of course, sharing the income, which is quite natural.
Okay.
But in terms of marketing, of making the catalogs, promoting that's fully the job of Interlim.
Okay.
Interlim team.
So Interlim very much the marketing arm. Let's just talk. We're a UK-based, although I live in France, we're a UK-based podcast. You've been in the UK, I'm sure, in Carlisle many times. Let's just talk a little bit about you're still moving cattle into the UK, I know. What's the difference between the cattle in the Limousin cattle maybe in the UK and those in France?
Of course, I'm traveling over to UK, myself, my team, say 2 to 3 times a year. Could be some customers visits, promotion of our different catalogs, AI catalogs or Lanaud catalogs. It's good to keep that contact. I was also meeting the new CEO of the British Society, Alice Swift, a couple of months ago, and I'm sure that she's the right person to handle the whole society and for the next couple of years. So I was delighted to meet her and her new team. That's very important for us to keep that link between French society and French Limousin breeding way and the British way. First of all, because we're very strong partners, and also because the British Society was created more than 50 years ago, and it's one of the first societies breeding Limousin in Europe, and that means a lot for us in France.
Okay.
Talking about the Limousin type, I would say that the Limousin type in UK and Great Britain was pretty more early beef, thicker probably than it's still in France. Much more beef than probably maternal, as we would say in France. Things might be changing in the next couple of years, probably in the UK, going into a more mixed maternal, paying probably more attention to easy calving and milk, and probably leaving that double muscle gene. I don't know, that's something we're talking about with my customers and also with the people of the society. But the market in the UK would ask young animals. So if you want young animals slaughtered And a young beef, you need to have the bigger amount of muscle and in the shortest amount of time. So that's why it was more early type of and thicker type of Limousin in the UK.
Early maturing. I understand that. And again, I said I live in France, and you do eat a lot, or they do eat quite a lot of cow beef. You kill your animals. It'd be nothing to take a cow to 6 or 7 years old and then eat the cow at that age. It's a different type of beef that you do. So you to you, the cow is still a functional, saleable beef animal, even when it's had 2 or 3 calves.
Exactly, or even more. We would eat much more female beef, cow beef, as you're saying, that probably than in the UK. And we've got absolutely no problem to eat beef from a cow from 10 to probably, let's say, 14 or 15 years old, which is nearly more than 10 calves behind her. We're maturing the beef. It's 3 to 4 to 5 months fattening to have the proper marbling and a very good quality of beef. But it's something we're very we like a lot. And most of the young males, for example, are being exported to Spain or Italy after weaning, after 8 to 9 months, to be fattened over there. So that young males, let's say 16 to 18 months, would be much more appreciated in the Mediterranean countries than in France, probably. Okay. But I'd say like any good beef could be eaten in France, but it's more a matter of culture or tradition than anything else, and it's the same in the UK, I guess.
Okay. And the difference in the UK is that when the animals get older, they go into mince to make burgers and such like, whereas in France, you still take a steak of an older animal, wouldn't you?
Of course, steak, loin, sirloin, bavette, you know that yourself, filet, everything is good from a cull cow, of course. And there's a big tradition of promoting these cull cows also through some very good auction sales. We were also doing the animation of that sales. These cows are purchased by very good restaurants, very good butchery also. So we're very big into that in France also.
I understand. And is the
of course some goes through burgers and steaks, burgers of course also, but we can make very a good say probably very very good into the nicest species of the carcass mainly.
Sure. And does the Limousin brand have you got a trademark on that? I know where I live in France, I'm in the Blonde Aquitaine area, so it's all blondes where I am, and as you mentioned, Charolais in a different region. Limousins are pretty much stay in your region, but is the Limousin brand, the beef brand, is that trademarked? Do you have that as a marketing tool?
Yes, there's an organism which is promoting the breed and the beef. It's called Limousin Promotion, and through this we've got label or brand, Blason, which is the most known brand of Limousin, very good quality beef. And for example, you can come across butchers or restaurants with a big brand on top of it, big sign of Blason Prestige. And it means that they're following a cahier des charges. I don't know what you call that in English. Rules to buy some very good beef from cows, from herds who are following the rules themselves. So it's a warranty of quality, and that's very important for customers.
Okay, and they probably get paid. The animals that go into that, do they get paid a premium to get that mark?
Yes, usually they're getting a premium. Yes, of course, yes. And it's normal indeed.
And is that an exportable product? Do you export? Does France export beef or export Limousin beef?
We're exporting Limousin beef, but I separate this brand and this label, Blason Prestige, is dedicated 100% for the French market. But it's always very good to promote that in Europe or worldwide, because like usually people are very interested to set up some rules to promote their own beef. For example, I'm quite well exporting livestock in the Baltic countries, Lithuania, and they're always asking me over the last couple of years, how can we promote our beef, our pure beef to our customers, and it's always very good for them to listen how we've created that brand, that label to promote to our customers.
Okay. And you also, I think, at Lanaud, you have a restaurant. You have a leisure park there and various things, not just selling beef, but you have a restaurant there, as a 300-seater restaurant. So you must be selling your own beef through there as well to get the feedback.
Yes, of course. It's all about promotion of the breed and promotion of farming. I think it's very important here in Lanaud to be a part of the promotion and telling young kids, for example, and that's the target, young kids, how we are farming and what's breeding cattle and what's the Limousin breed, because they're listening to a lot of crap every day, and these kids, it's big part of us. It's our job to promote that and tell them what's being farming correctly. And so we were sitting in the Limousin Park, which is the Mont Lanaud station, also as a park of around 30 hectares dedicated to tourists and young kids and schools. As I said, what's Limousin and educating them about farming world. And beside that, we've got a restaurant in which we're also offering and selling some very good beef, and it's called Le Lanaud Restaurant. Okay. So you're more welcome to come there anytime.
I thank you. I might be tempted to do that. And do you welcome people to come onto the station at any time to look at the bulls? People, are you sort of open just for a phone call and drop in and see the testing station for anybody that wants to buy that maybe doesn't get to the sale?
Of course, and the people are more than welcome to visit the station anytime during the year. It's better to tell us before. Regarding the young bulls, usually you can feel free to visit the young bulls after the qualification, and the qualification is around 3 weeks before the sale. Okay. So once you've got the dates of the next sales, you can tell yourself, okay, 3 weeks before, okay, I'm free to visit the calves. Just phoning Interlim, phoning anybody who speaks English in Lanaud station, and feel free to visit them. We'll give you catalogs and indications to visit them with us. It's no problem. Everybody's more than welcome.
Thank you, Early. Your English is very good, I have to say. And I'm going to mention just another couple of things before we let you go. I know you're busy going around farms. What about the black limousines? That's something that's sort of rearing its head in the black limousines are coming to the front in the UK, or some of them are. I mean, you have limousines in France. You must have black ones. Do you go with those?
We don't have black limousine in France. We don't admit black limousine. We're very close to the eldest standard of the breed, which is red coat and white around the eyes, underneath, slightly underneath the belly. That's very important for us to keep close to the original standards of proper breed characteristics. Therefore, this is why we don't admit in the herd book some black lim. So far, I don't think it's going to move in the next couple of years. That's clearly the volunteer of the last chairman of the breed and of the new one, Olivier Rambert, to keep being very close to the original standard of the breed in terms of coat and of color. Okay.
What about the Pole gene? Does that come along, or does the Pole gene only go along with the black one?
Pole gene is different to black lim. It's also a gene from what we call a foreign gene, introduced in the end of mid 90s in France. It's coming from the Aberdeen Angus. It was pretty much diluted in blood, but that's important now to I think select more and more Limousin with the Pole gene aspect regarding the animal welfare. That's something we're trying to work more and more, also through the Lanaud station, to supply some very good young bulls, polled, heteropolled or homopolled. As far as, of course, they would stick to the breed characteristics and the right color and the right qualities of thickness, of length, of good temperament. Okay. That's the main thing.
Okay. And what about the government? Are they behind farmers? I mean, is the government looking after farmers? Do you believe they're in France, or at the moment are we struggling a bit?
Well, I would say that we're always complaining about governments, and we are always complaining about them not to be enough behind the farmers, so there will never ever be enough supporting the farmers. so far, I think our farmers are still struggling because conditions of farming are not perfect. But beef price has slightly improved over the next couple of months. It's better than it was. It's still not enough. So there's always some protest and for government and ministry to keep listening to what we need. So well, nothing is perfect. I suppose it's the same in the UK, but I hope that things will be slightly moving in the future, or slightly a lot of movement and improvement in the future. But there's a big voice from the countryside, and it's very important for them to be listened to.
It is a big voice. I know the farmers in France do stick together a lot more than they do in the UK, maybe working through cooperatives and such like, but the farmers do unite together, and they have a strong voice to the government, don't they?
Exactly. They in France, it's very common to put your voices together, make one voice. I think you're stronger. Could be through syndicate of breeders, could be through also co-ops, but union of farmers. But it's I think you feel stronger, and you're more. I think you've got a lot more of credit when you've got a common voice. And if you go on your own, protesting and shouting, and so that's the French way. Sometimes for the people in UK traveling to France, these strikes and protests are probably too much. But that's the French way. We can't be quiet and stay at home. It's always the good occasion to lift up the signs and to set up a fire on tires. But sometimes, it's we're heard and listened to because of that. That's the way we've been doing that for the last couple of 60 or 70 years.
It is very much, as you said. I think it's a lesson for all of us to learn how the French do stick together, certainly compared to the UK, and I think you have a strong voice on that. Ollie, I've really enjoyed having your company on here this morning. That's very interesting to hear about Lanaud. I know my friend Mark Lewis introduced you to him, and he said I must come up and visit Lanaud one day, so maybe I'll pop along.
Yep. You're more than welcome, Andy, and anytime, and everybody listening to that podcast can, of course, get in touch with us in Interlim in Lanaud, and they're more than welcome to visit the park, no problem.
Very kind of you. Ollie, thank you very much for your time. That's been a pleasure.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Top Lines and Tails, your weekly livestock podcast. And as always, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Harbro, for their continued support. And obviously, if you're listening to this, you may be a beef breeder, and suckler cows going through into the winter now don't really need a lot of additional nutrition through the first half of the winter, but it's worth considering the mineral pack. So get in touch with Harbro. They recommend the working suckler pack from housing until 6 weeks pre-calving, when they'd move on to the super suckler SEC minerals. So they're designed to support a good calving, boost colostrum and quality, and get those previous calves off to a good start. So ask them about their two-step suckler cow mineral package there at Harbro, your local representative, or go online and find some more information about that at Harbro's website or on the social media channels there. So do get in touch with Harbro to see how they can help you with your suckler cow packages. And while you're there online, don't forget to go onto social media and join our Top Lines and Tails Facebook group, where you'll find photographs to back up this and previous episodes. And also, wherever you listen to your podcast, please click that button to follow Top Lines and Tails, because that will then get you notified whenever we put up a new podcast online. So please follow us on Top Lines and Tails wherever you get yours from.